And so welcome everybody to our March 10th RMI Association's meeting, hosted by Gamma Iota Sigma Beta Mu. So we're actually joined today by a couple of representatives from some of the RMI associations. We are joined today by Mr. Glenn Harris from CPCU. Glenn, if you don't mind giving a wave to our chapter members. Thank you, Glenn. We are also joined today by Mr. James Brown from PRIMA. James, if you don't mind giving a quick wave hello to our members as well. And then we will also be joined here, hopefully in the next 10 minutes or so, by Miss Renee Pedinano Mosley from the Rocky Mountain RIMS organization as well. So guys, we're going to go ahead and start the meeting off by giving each of these organizations just about 10 minutes to discuss with our chapter members what it is exactly their organization does. Some of these organizations, this is the first time our chapter members have heard of them, seen from them, heard from representatives from these organizations. So this is the time we wanted to give to expose our chapter members to these organizations and the benefits that they offer. Now, Mr. Glenn, would you be willing to go ahead and start us off by introducing CPCU?
Absolutely. And I will focus more on what CPCU can do for you. I don't need to focus on why you should join because most of you are GIS members, and I'll let you know that being a GIS member automatically gives you a membership into CPCU Society. So there you go. You already have a membership. You're already members. So now it's like, what can you do with that? So the CPCU is the Chartered Property Casualty Underwriter designation and society. So a lot of people in the insurance industry, it says property casualty underwriter, but there's a lot of different people in the field that have CPCU designations. It's a series of 8 tests to take to get to your designation. And so most of the other members are people that have designation. But there's also student members, and people are allowed to join as candidate members while they're working on their designations once they've completed 2 of the tests. And there's a lot to do in CPCU. It's a lot about being lifelong learners, being experts in the field of insurance and risk management. And there's a lot of ways to get involved in the local. I'm a member of the local chapter for Colorado. There's also a Colorado Springs chapter, but there's chapters all over the United States and worldwide. And then there's the national. Basically, the organization also has ways to get involved from the national level. There's different committees and interest groups depending on what you're interested in. Once again, so I'm in the Colorado chapter, but on the national level, I'm a member of the International Insurance Interest Group. And so we do a lot with international stuff. We do a newsletter and webcasts, and we have a group of people that are on WhatsApp from India. We do WebExes with people from London, and we have a lot of people down in the Bahamas that we actually work with also. So it's really interesting, and it gives you a lot of ways to get involved and also maybe get some leadership experience. If you're looking for that once you start to get into a job, it's like, hey, look at this is what I'm doing in my own time also to set myself apart from my peers type thing. But I really enjoy both. And it's interesting. The last year has been really interesting for everybody, I'm sure, but it's really been really big for CPCU also. In the past, we've done a lot of in-person meetings for both the local and the national. And there's a lot of people that go out to the national meeting every year, and there's a leadership summit. And so there's some things that like they're big events everybody likes to go to. They're incredibly expensive events to go out, hotel, airfare. The conference itself is expensive. But this last year, it was great. We had a virtual meeting, had a lot of networking still, but we also got a lot of content put out. And at least last year, it was completely free for students. So any GIS members or students could have attended that for free. This year, they are planning on having it in person, but they're planning on doing a hybrid meeting. So there's going to be in person and online. And I certainly have a feeling that they're going to be able to offer that hybrid online part for students also. So I would highly recommend, being able to do that. And you're going to be able to see some webcasts, do some classes that really will help like sort of connect things that you're learning in class with real world applications. Some of it can be really exciting, especially a lot of the InsurTech stuff, just dealing with implementing new technologies to basically improve processes can be really interesting. And I would say on top of that, like the local chapter, we will probably get back to meeting in person again. So, hey, we'd love to have any of you there. Members are free. GIS members are CPCU members, so lunch is free. So if you show up, you get free lunch. But even if you're not a GIS member and you happen to be on here, you should become a GIS member. By the way, I am a GIS alumni myself. So, but if you're not a GIS CPCU member, still let us know. We will pay for you to come out anyways. Like we'll have somebody sponsor you. So that's not a big deal. But even right now, we've got a meeting coming up on the 16th during the day. I think in the past, we've had some issues with students because our lunch meetings are generally on a day when there's classes. And even though it's a lunch meeting, it's generally during some class times. But we normally meet on Tuesdays, but we've sort of thrown it up with virtual meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it's normally a lunch meeting. It's normally 11 to 1, show up, eat lunch. But the biggest thing about our meetings, the national meeting, it's only 50% about the knowledge or getting CE. The other 50% is networking, just meeting as many different people as you can that are involved in different aspects of the industry, whether they're a broker, a producer, whether they're at a carrier. We have several people in the local chapter that are involved with InsurTech startups. So there's a lot of different people, and it's meet them, introduce yourselves. Everybody wants to hear from students, so we're glad to have you come. Tell them a little bit about what you're doing in classes, what your interest is, and then add them on LinkedIn, keep in touch, and we're always looking for different ways to hire people. So I don't think I'm exactly at 10 minutes. I know we're going to have the breakout rooms too. So you can either just move on, or if you want to do a few questions before the breakout room, that's fine also.
So I think we're going to save questions for the breakouts, Glenn, but if you wouldn't mind, would you be able to provide our chapter members with your contact information in case anybody has
Sure.
questions as to anything regarding CPCU or what you guys are offering, just so that they have a point of contact for such?
Yeah, I'll throw it up in the chat so it's easier to.
Actually, wouldn't it be better if they all just send it to you and you just email it to all of us on a single group chat? That way we don't have to write it down right now.
That definitely works. So I actually do have all the email addresses for our representatives here today. Is it okay with both of you guys, both James and Glenn, if I just send out your email addresses to our chapter members as a point of contact?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you reached out to me on LinkedIn. Everybody feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn also. So
fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Glenn, for sharing about CPCU. I really do appreciate you. Just a quick notice, folks. We did just get joined by Miss Renee Pedinato-Mosley, who will be introducing and representing for Rocky Mountain RIMS. Now, Renee, we are going to transition next to Mr. James Brown to discuss and present for PRIMA, after which we will give you the opportunity to present on Rocky Mountain RIMS. Just wanted to say hello to you and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
and
having
with that
me.
being said, absolutely. And now with that being said, James, the floor is yours for the next 10 minutes to fill our chapter members in on PRIMA.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate you all having me on and you all being here. And I'm super excited that there's a program in risk management now. As Renee can attest, a lot of us currently in risk management, we kind of fell into it. Wasn't necessarily something that we went to school for, became in other duties as assigned, and we find ourselves here today. So I'm absolutely thrilled that there's a local program and your chapter that's helping support students and that become members. So Really quick, if I can, do I have permission to share screen here? I'll put up, let's see. If you can see
Caleb,
that.
I think you're still muted. Oh, there.
So there's my information, so that'll show up on the recording there. People will be able to see that. There's also our website, which I was going to show, but embarrassingly, our website's down, so I can't show you that. But that is the correct web link there. If you try it now, you'll get an error saying that our certificate's not valid, so we apparently need to pay our electric bill or something to get that up and running. But that is our information there. We are a local chapter of a national organization, it's the Public Risk Management Association. And so we deal primarily with risk in the public sector. So think of your government entities, special districts, school districts, anything that gets publicly funded. That's where we focus our efforts, focus our trainings and our education sessions. We meet once a month, basically once a month. We have chapter meetings. We used to do those in person back in the before times. And we would meet, we would network and have lunch. We also can give you a free lunch as we do offer free membership to students. If you want to join and come get free lunch, come network with some folks and really get to know what it's like to be, to manage risk in the public sector. That's, Glenn, I think you mentioned it as well, that one of the best things that we offer. I mean, the education sessions are great, but those networking opportunities. When I moved to Colorado just over 4 years ago, one of the local chapter representatives reached out to me, invited me, and I've never felt more welcome to a group of strangers in my entire life. It was fantastic from day one. It was anything you need, any questions you have. I was new to city risk management. I came from state risk management in Utah. So it was a little bit different animal, but they were more than happy to help with resources, with information, with contacts, and just generally making sure that I was comfortable and welcomed here in the state of Colorado, and that my success was just as important to them as their success. We also do an annual conference this year. We're going to be doing it virtually, and so we'll make sure that you all have that information and are able to join. But usually we do it at one of the mountain towns and go up to a conference there that sometimes cost prohibitive for students or time doesn't allow, but this year that we're doing it virtually, it'd be a great opportunity for you all to join and get to know us a little bit better. And again, really just kind of see what it's like to manage risk in the public sector. Renee has kind of had her feet in both worlds there, and she can kind of tell you that there are some similarities, but there's definitely some differences. And so RIMS is a fantastic organization as well, and between the two of us, I hope we get all the bases covered. But yeah, definitely looking forward to hearing your questions. Find out what questions, thoughts, or just what you want to know about risk in the public sector. So thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for sharing, James. I really do appreciate you. We will now be turning the floor over to Miss Renee to present to us about Rocky Mountain RIMS. Renee, the floor is yours for the next 10 minutes.
Now that I figured out unmute, that's probably a good thing. Well, thank you all for inviting me again. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Renee Pettinato-Mosley, and I am a graduate of the University of Montana and the University of Montana Law School. And the question I always get is, well, how did you end up where you ended up? Because obviously back when James and I started, and probably I'm much older than James, but there was no risk management program west of the Mississippi. There was one at Tulane, there was one at Temple. You just didn't really hear about it. So my internship, my first year of law school, happened to be with the Tort Defense Division of the state of Montana, which had a little tiny guy in a little tiny office called the risk manager. And I thought, that's interesting. The crazy thing is after I graduated and I moved to Colorado, I interviewed for a job in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I kicked back in a seat and talked to him about what I thought risk management was based on my experience in Montana. And turns out I got the job. So I started from ground zero. It's at the city of Cheyenne. All I had was a law degree and a notebook in my hand when I started. And 28 years later, I'm still doing it. I spent 4.5 years at the city of Cheyenne, 6 years as the state risk manager for Wyoming, and then came down to Colorado and went to work for a private corporation called Archstone for 9 years. And we were a real estate development company. So it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of things. I'd never bought a commercial general liability policy until I went to private sector, because public sector doesn't always purchase that insurance policy. We often pool our liability risks with other governmental entities. CIRSA is something you may have heard kicked around Colorado. They are a very large public entity risk pool that basically functions like an insurance company, but the members have more say in how things are handled and how the organization works. But in any event, so I've been doing this a very long time, and I can tell you that the opportunities in risk management are abundant for any type of discipline. I have friends that have been doing this, and several that have just retired, that had no finance background, no law background. A couple of them were psychology majors, which at the end of the day, if you do this for a living, you'll think that is quite appropriate. The things that I've learned over the years, risk is basically the same everywhere. And the best thing to do, the best tip I ever got was look at the financials. If you look at the financials of any organization, you will find out what their priorities are. And once you find out what the priorities are, then you can start applying risk management principles to help them keep their balance sheets in check. And so that was kind of my big thing when I started. Is I didn't know how to do budgets. I didn't know how to do anything, but boy, I knew tort law, and that really came in handy since I was handling claims. But there are so many different aspects of it. And I know a lot of the students, in fact, I was on the advisory committee call the other day, and they were talking about the fact that many of our RMIS students from CU Denver do not go into risk management at all. It's like 13% have gotten jobs in risk management out of the box. And I thought, well, why is that? Well, perhaps there aren't any positions, but James and I can attest to the fact that there are probably a lot more entry-level positions out there than there are positions for he and I at our level of our careers. And I think maybe it's just that we haven't given enough students the opportunity to really kind of look inside and see what we do on a daily basis. And so I would encourage you, if there are internships with risk managers, to apply for them. I think it's one way to get your foot in the door of the insurance industry, but you're doing it from a whole different perspective. And particularly if you go into public entity, one thing I've always told students is it's okay to make a mistake in the public entity world, a lot more than it is in the private sector, because private sector is always profit driven. Public entity, you have a little more leeway. It's easier to correct your mistakes. It's not going to cost millions of dollars most of the time. And generally speaking, you don't have that kind of authority anyway to settle a claim for a really ridiculous amount of money that maybe it isn't worth it. So it's a good training ground, and just keep that in the back of your minds. So I came here mostly to talk to you all about what RIMS is. And James and I are both members of PRIMA and RIMS because of what we do. We touch base with all sorts of different people in the industry, and not just our public sector friends, but our private sector friends. We have a lot to learn from them as well. RIMS is a global organization. We don't call it the national RIMS, we call it the society, because the society has chapters in Asia and India and London and Canada, and of course, all over the United States. It is a very exciting organization because there's so many different disciplines, and there's so many different people that you can connect with and learn new things, new skills. It may not be something you're working in currently, but for example, I don't work in real estate anymore, but boy, I do a lot of real estate contracts, easements and license agreements and such in my job. So all those real estate skills that I've learned, I can put to use. And if I have a question with a developer and I say, hey, you know, from my previous life, I knew X at this company, maybe I should give them a call. So it's really a great networking, and it's also good to keep up with people that you've met in the past and see where they've gone now. You know, you've all probably learned in your coursework in insurance that insurance really began in London, and it really began as an inland marine coverage to cover cargo that was being shipped to and from Asia when they were looking at the Silk Road and the trade between us or the Brits and China particularly. It is also something to keep in mind, excuse me, is that it's pretty interesting to meet and greet with other people in the industry through RIMS. One of the things that I appreciate is, especially when I first got to Colorado, I didn't know anybody except the brokers. I knew all the brokers. I knew a few of the folks in restoration. I did not know any of my fellow risk managers. So it was really interesting to connect and get to know some of these people, especially the ones that have been in the industry a long time. There's a lot of wisdom that can be gained from hanging out with your elders. And now that I'm one of the elders, I'd like to tell you I have some wisdom left in my head at the end of the day. Not right now, but maybe tomorrow. There's a lot that you can do with the Risk Management Association with RIMS. We have multiple committees that you can get involved in even as a student. We have we have a legislative committee, which I'm still involved in, even though I'm the chapter president right now. We have the programming committee, which does all of our chapter events online right now, but generally we're like James, we would have a monthly meeting, and unfortunately PRIMA and RIMS are usually the same day, so you got to pick one. But we used to have our meetings at Maggiano's, and we'd like to resume those maybe in November. It's great, food's great. Audio visuals kind of okay, but it's a really nice opportunity. There's usually an 8 tops, so you're sitting there with 8 different people maybe that you've never met, and you can kind of get to know some folks and hand out business cards and just really interact a lot more than at some other meetings I've been to. They put you at a long table and you can only talk to the people on either side of you. So I really like that. So if you want to get involved with RIMS, there is a student membership. It will allow you to attend our monthly meetings for free when we start getting back together. So we'll buy you lunch if you can get down south to Maggiano's, because unfortunately we don't meet downtown. And we've tried that and it was great, except getting to and from if you don't work downtown is really challenging. If you're a member of the Gamma Iota Sigma fraternity, we always try to do something with you once a year at least. I know we've had receptions in the past. We've done career days. We've done speaking at your college courses. What else can I tell you? We do a lot of things with a volunteer group. We have a community service committee that we've done paint-a-thons with Brothers Redevelopment. We've given money to the it's the IIAF, and it's the charitable arm of the insurance industry, for scholarships, and we're giving some money to the food banks right now, trying to help out people who are really in need. So if you go to a Rocky Mountain RIMS website, so it's rockymountainrims.org, that will give you the opportunity to look out the student memberships. I think it's really, you have to join society. I think it's $50 maybe, but I could be wrong about that. It's been a while since I've looked that up. Anyway, once you get through school, you decide to get into our industry. RIMS has something we call the Rising Risk Professionals, and it is a new group within RIMS to try and promote younger individuals who are just out of school and getting into the profession, or those individuals who have gone back to school after a different career and are new to the profession. So it's kind of, young at heart and young by age group. And it really does offer the opportunity for mentoring. It offers the opportunity for the job listings on RIM's website. And, again, just another way to connect with people who are at similar levels and places in their career paths. So it's a great organization. Emily Bladell, who's our chapter vice president and couldn't be here with me today. Emily is involved in that chapter. She has been on the the society board for that group, and has really enjoyed the opportunity to network with other people who are, again, at earlier stages of their career than somebody like me. But it's a good group. We really have a lot of fun with our RIMS chapter. Just like PRIMA, we have the annual conference, which is in different locations. We missed the Denver conference that was supposed to be here in 2020. Of course, it got canceled. 2021 was supposed to be in Chicago. It's going virtual this year. So you may want to check that out. I think today's the last day for me to register, but I think there's other registration opportunities. So rims.org will be able to tell you that. And that is about all I had. If someone has any questions, or you want to give a stump the two risk managers sitting on this call and give us a hard question. I'm sure James would love to talk about cops. His cops are nicer than ours in Aurora, but ours are getting better. We're getting better every day.
We're just breaking up all those raucous parties up on the hill.
Yeah, boy, was that something.
Yeah,
see, all these nice Denver students, they don't get involved in that kind of garbage.
We'd hope so.
Well, at least not during a pandemic, for goodness sakes.
So
You have too much trust in humankind.
That's kind of a nice compliment, considering I've been doing this so long and I'm quite jaded. That's kind of a nice
compliment. Oh, we have one more presenter, correct? Before we start going into questions.
Can you all hear me well right now?
We have.
So actually, we had presenters who were unable to join us today. You guys hear me okay?
We can hear you now, I think.
There we go. All right, I have to turn my camera off to reduce the internet connection. But so we actually had two representatives who were unable to join us today. One was Miss Emily Blodel from RMS. The other one was JT Weinroth, who was unable to join us from CPCU. We do have all three organizations represented for us today. I'm going to go ahead and open up the questions. If you guys just give me just a few seconds to do so. So I'm going to open up 3 breakout rooms, each breakout that have representatives from each organization in it. So if you just give me just a few seconds, I will get these all rock and roll for us, guys.
Oh, Glenn, what I was trying to say at the beginning of this meeting, I actually met you before. It's been a little bit, though.
All right, breakout rooms are assigned, and I will let you all know when we've got about 60 seconds left in each rotation. So good luck in there, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody. Give me just a few seconds and I will go ahead and assign the groups for round 2. back in just a few seconds. We'll get rocking and rolling with the last round, round 3. Welcome back, everybody. Well, I hope everybody had a good opportunity to, field some questions about the organizations, as well as get a chance to network with the representatives from each organization. I did just want to take the time to thank all of our representatives today on behalf of the chapter as a whole. Thank you for your time, your efforts, and preparation for this meeting, as well as the information that you've been able to provide for our chapter members. We really do appreciate you. I will be sending out an email to all of our chapter members with the contact information for these representatives, should you have any lingering questions or concerns regarding their specific organizations. And other than that, folks, I thank you for your time, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay.
Oh, one moment.
Yeah, go ahead, Edward.
Can we all thank Caleb for hosting this meeting?
Yes, thank you, Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Caleb.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity. It was nice to meet you all.
It's nice to meet you guys. Have a good evening, everyone.
Take care,
See
everybody.
you, James.
Likewise,
See
everybody.
you, Renee. Take care.
You
Thank
too.
you all very much.
Where's the leave button?